Most likely, you are currently holding yourself back from getting your bag on social media because you're afraid of being annoying or salesy. I am here today to tell you that you can, in fact, make a good living as a content creator, even with not that big of an audience, and you don't have to be annoying to do it. I really believe in creators developing their own products, whether it's a digital product or a service or even a physical product like merch. Whatever it is, having your own thing to sell is so powerful because you don't have to depend on brands changing ad budgets or affiliate marketing structures or even fluctuating AdSense for your income. But for whatever reason, a lot of content creators, myself included, find it harder to sell your own stuff than to sell other people's stuff. And I think it's because a lot of us don't have the right strategy or frankly mindset. But personally, I had a bit of a breakthrough with this recently that resulted in over $6,000 in digital product sales in just one weekend from posting just a couple of pieces of content. And so I want to share that strategy with you today. So today we're going to dive into my non-cringy sales strategy for social media, which I want you to start using so that you can finally start reaping the financial rewards of all of the work and investment that you've put into your content creation. And I'm going to map it all out so you can easily copy and paste it into your own business and content. And thanks to Standstore for sponsoring a portion of today's video. Okay, so this strategy comes in 3 major parts. Number 1, setup. Number 2, sell. And number 3, scale. But before we can sell, we need to lay the groundwork with 2 equally important components of developing your product. The first one being finding your unique value. This seems simple on the surface, right? Like you obviously want to develop something that is going to be valuable to your audience, i.e. provides a result that your customer is willing to pay for, and that is also unique to you so that you can stand out from similar offers that are available. But I'll be honest, it can actually be really challenging to get this step right. This is the basic formula. Your product needs to exist in the gap between what you can offer and what your audience wants and is willing to pay for. Okay, so what can you offer? I really want you to take a moment to do some serious self-reflection here, because what I'm not gonna do right now is tell you to make some like 5-minute AI generated ebook. That's neither what you can offer, it's what ChatGPT can offer, or what your audience really needs. There is a lot of generic advice out there about digital products especially, and I think we all just need to refocus on creating valuable stuff with our own human expertise. So reflect a bit on these questions. What are you already an expert in? Like, what do you have valuable personal experience in that you could share with others? If neither of those directly connect to what you feel excited about creating, then you could ask yourself, what could I conduct extensive research in order to collect information into one package that would be convenient for other people to access? If there's one thing you're gonna need when it comes to developing your product as a creator, it's integrity. And we'll talk more about that in the second step as well. Okay, second, what is your audience willing to pay for? And how do we figure that out? Okay, so first of all, it's important to consider both pieces of this. Like, what does your audience want? What are they willing to, part with their hard-earned cash for? Because you could make something that you want to offer and that your audience wants, but if they don't see that it's valuable enough to pay for it, then it might be better off using that as like a freebie or a lead magnet. So consider this list of questions to help you decide. What is my audience's biggest struggle? If I could snap my fingers and solve a problem for my audience members, what would it be? What are other solutions that my audience has tried for solving this that maybe haven't quite worked? And finally, what would my audience's budget be for something that could fully solve this problem for them? So we've laid out the more tangible half of developing your perfect revenue generating product. So now we need to talk about the second half of the setup stage, which is honestly equally or more important. You need to design a product that you feel proud of. If you're not proud of it, you won't feel good selling it. And then this whole strategy honestly falls apart. So this is crucial. Here's a few guiding questions to help you. Number 1, if somebody else had made it when you were in need of it, would you have paid your own money to buy it? If a friend came to you with the challenges that you're trying to address with your product, would you wholeheartedly recommend it to them? Or would you feel like there's other stuff that you needed to add in order to fully solve their problem? And finally, do you feel excited about sharing this product with your audience? Are you enthusiastic about making content about it, or do you feel like a little low-key embarrassed to bring it up? These questions can be a helpful guideline for you, but if you have imposter syndrome, they can be really difficult to answer honestly and realistically. So listen, I have dealt with my fair share of imposter syndrome. Even after being a full-time content creator for 5 years now, I still constantly question myself and worry that the stuff I'm creating isn't good enough. But having those feelings toward a product that you've created is going to be absolutely detrimental in your ability to sell it. Low-key, there are a lot of scammers out there, like a lot of people selling internet snake oil. And of course, because you're here and you're a cool person, I know that you don't want to do that. And probably chances are, if you're anything like me, you're like a little bit worried about accidentally stumbling into doing that. But what I've come around to is I really believe that you can't like accidentally be a scammer, because I think intention's a big part of it. If you're approaching your product development in good faith and with integrity and trying to genuinely create something that's helpful and price it in a fair way, then I think you're doing a good job. You don't have to worry about it. If that sounds like it describes you and your approach, then I want you to try to peel away the imposter syndrome and look at the questions that I just listed a little bit more realistically and stop being so hard on yourself. If you're still feeling nervous though, don't worry about it. I have some steps included in part 3 of this whole strategy that help you address some of that nervousness and become more confident and feel good about the product that you're selling. Okay, now it's time to actually sell your product. Obviously, you're gonna need a place to host your product so you can facilitate the transactions. And you can do this so easily using Stan Store. Maybe you're already familiar with Stan as like a link in bio page option, but they really are so much more than that. Okay, so all you're gonna do is open up Stan and then go to My Store. And then you can scroll down to the bottom and click on Add Product. And you can choose from various options here. So if you wanna provide a service like coaching or host a course or even have a paid membership, you can easily do that here. But for now, I'm just gonna click on digital product. From here, you can add in all of the details about your product and you can upload a file or attach a URL. It's really that easy, and you can have your digital product set up and ready to start selling in like 5 minutes. Chances are you might be like me and you've heard lots about Stan in the past because a lot of creators love it, but it took me a hot minute to really check it out because let's be honest, it's kind of intimidating to switch to a new platform. But as I've recently discovered, it is super fast and easy to set up. It seriously takes just like 5 minutes to set up. And what it comes down to is Stan Store is the easiest way for your followers to purchase your product from their phone without even having to leave the social media apps. I actually recently purchased a travel guide to Mexico City from one of my favorite travel creators, Joy Malonza, who actually is also a Stan Store user. It was so easy to check out. I could even pay with Apple Pay, and I got the guide sent directly to my email. Like, it was just so seamless. Stan Store does more than just help you sell your digital products though. It really is an all-in-one platform for creators, including features like DM automation and email marketing. Yeah, so I've used ManyChat for DM automations for like a while now, but Stan includes that in their creator plan that's just $29 a month with no limit on the amount of contacts you collect. Meanwhile, my ManyChat bill is getting up to like $100 a month at this point, so you can just do the math. There's also an appointment booker and a bunch of other cool features too. Clearly, I have become obsessed with Stan Store and I think you will be too. So use my link in the description to go set up your own Stan Store and start selling your digital products today. Moving on to the third part of our non-cringy sales strategy. It's time to scale. This step also comes to you in 2 parts. The first part being we've got to start integrating your product into your content. This step here is really the crux of the whole strategy. You need to find ways to organically integrate talking about your product into the content that you are already making. And I'm going to give you 2 templates that you can copy and paste and start using for yourself, one with email marketing and one for Instagram. But first we need to cover the core principles. It's so much more about the way that you talk about your product and your content than the actual content itself. So here are my tips. Number 1, just talk like yourself. Don't try to be overly polished about it. I think a lot of us get in this mindset where we're like, okay, I need to sell my digital product. I have to write sales copy. And then we write it as if it's an ad. But we wouldn't have to. Like, we're literally doing this for ourselves, right? So try to break out of that mindset of needing to sound more professional just because it's a promotional post. It really doesn't have to, and it shouldn't sound any different than the content that you normally make. Number 2, explain why what you're selling is valuable and just be honest about that with your audience. Not everything needs to be life-changing or like the best thing ever. You can just honestly and plainly explain what results your digital product provides or what value you get from it or past customers have got from it. If it's a compelling solution to a common problem, it will sell. And just explaining that in honest terms is going to be more interesting than trying to hype it up like out of this world. And personally, I really believe in underselling and over-delivering. I would way much rather just explain in a cool, common, casual way the basic results that you get from my product. And then once you buy it and you open it up, you're like, dang, this is so extensive. Rather than me promising the world world, and then once you get it, you're disappointed. And number 3, you have to really believe in what you're offering. Again, this comes back to being proud of what you created. But if you genuinely love your product and believe in its value, then you can just talk about it honestly. It doesn't have to be a big promotional thing. All of this boils down to our first principle, which is just be honest. Just honestly tell us why your product is valuable, how it's changed things for you, how it's changed things for your past customers, and how it can help us as potential customers too. You don't need a ton of bells and whistles or fancy copywriting. I honestly believe that if your sales content comes from the heart, it will perform better. Let's get a bit more tangible now with the structure though, because I want to talk about how you can actually communicate that honest pitch with your customers and structure that in a way that's actually going to work. Okay, so I want you to use my basic 3 email formula for this. I find that a lot of email marketing can honestly get really overwhelming. All of the funnels and sequences and segmentation can kind of just get in the way of you trying it out and starting. So I decided for a test recently that I would strip this all back and simply create a 3 email funnel. Basically just write 3 emails and send them to my entire list, no special segmentation needed. And by the way, that test that I did was really quite successful. In 1 weekend, I generated over $6,000 in revenue with my email campaign of 3 total emails and an Instagram story set of 2 frames. That's 5 pieces of content resulting in 6,000 USD, baby. So you can see that 5,700 or so of that came through my Squarespace shop, and I did 3 sales through Stan. Remember, that's just from 1 Instagram story, basically. After that initial success, I experimented a little bit more. These are my Stan analytics from the past month or so. And I find it interesting because you can so clearly see exactly when I posted promoting my product. So we get our first spike there on March 27th when I posted that 2 Instagram story frames. This is from that initial launch when I also sent out the emails, and it resulted in 3 sales coming through Instagram. And because I posted 2 frames, the views were really low. So I think I only got about 5,000 views on these stories. On April 2nd, we see another spike, and that's when I posted this carousel, and I also paired it with a DM automation. This ended up resulting in about $1,100 worth of sales. You can see that the carousel's effect kind of lasted longer here. It tapered off over time, but unlike stories, people do continue to see carousel posts in the days after it's been posted. So it has a bit more longevity. April 8th, we get another spike when I posted another Instagram story frame. This one got a lot more views because it was the single frame that I posted that day, and we got 3 sales. I just find this really satisfying to see the direct result of me posting my promotional content, then the sales come in. Basically what I'm trying to show you here is this shit works. So let's talk about how you can do it. I want you to try running the exact same test that I did and see how it works for you. So, okay, let's lay out that formula. First, you're gonna wanna decide on your urgency factor. This is essential for any good promo. I know this can feel a little contrived sometimes, but this really is classic marketing and it makes a big difference. Okay, so maybe you could do something like a discount, or you could do a special limited time offer. Maybe your product is only available for sale certain times of the year. Or you could choose to offer a bundle, package together a couple of your products at a special price for a limited time. The point is you need to pick something like this to make your offer feel special. And it's important that it's only available for a certain time frame to provide that much needed urgency. So in my own example, I just did a basic discount. I think I did 25% off just for a certain amount of days. That to me is the easiest one, but it's also maybe not as compelling as other more special creative stuff you could come up with, but it works. Okay, so next we're gonna move on to writing the emails. You wanna keep these short, seriously 500 words or less, ideally less. I think the longest email I did in my sequence was my second one, and it was 450-ish words. And you're gonna use these themes to structure them. Okay, so email number 1 is gonna be your intro. You're gonna write something introducing my new product, or it might just be in my case, an update to an existing product. Again, you're just gonna speak honestly about why this product is valuable and why we should buy it. You can talk about why you created it, what problems you're trying to solve, and how it's gonna be helpful to your audience. Hot tip in this email, when you're writing about all the amazing benefits of your product, focus on results, not process. A lot of creators will naturally put more emphasis on the process because that's the part that we painstakingly designed, the way that you're gonna go from A to B, from having the problem to having the problem solved. But customers care about results, not the process. Just to give you a totally random example, let's say I was trying to write an email marketing sequence to promote the Couch to 5K program. I would say something like, after this program, you will run a full 5K without having to stop and without getting out of breath. That's the result. I wouldn't want to say something like, this program is going to help you run for 5 times a week, and each time you're going to do increasing run intervals and decreasing walk intervals. Over time, building up your running endurance so that you'll be able to run for longer. That's the process. And while yes, that is true, it's not as compelling as just saying you're going to be able to run a full 5K without getting out of breath. The process is important. It is what's going to create the results, but what people want to buy is the results. Okay, in this email, you also definitely want to mention whatever your urgency factor is. So let's say it's a discount, and mention when the discount is going to end. Okay, email number 2 is your story. This email is basically going to say, this is the secret to how I solved X. Insert your audience's problem here. In this email, you want to take a more narrative approach. The first one was more like an exposition approach. Here, you're going to tell a story. Tell the story of a specific outcome that either you got or a past customer got from your product. So for example, in the series I did for my Content Creator Starter Kit, this email was about how I transformed my business in terms of my brand deal revenue, because really the biggest component in that was me building out my system for tracking my brand deal partnerships and follow-ups and pitches and all that stuff, which is included in the starter kit. So I talked about how I took my business from about $70,000 in profit back in 2021 to over $300,000 in profit in 2024. And my subject line was, this is how I tripled my annual income. Very compelling. It's a good story, and it demonstrates the potential results of the product. Okay, your third email is going to be the last chance. Basically, you're going to tell your audience that the discount or your limited time offer, your bundle, whatever, is going away. Grab it before it's gone. This final email here is going to be your shortest. You want to keep it really succinct and to the point. Basically, it's just a reminder that your promo that you decided on is ending. And you basically just hope that you take this last opportunity to entice anybody who's been intrigued by your first 2 emails to actually go ahead and make the purchase. Okay, and my Instagram sales strategy is even simpler. And it's something that I think you can do in an ongoing basis in your regular Instagram content. Okay, so on Instagram, you're going to alternate doing a promotional post on stories one week and then a promotional carousel the next. When it comes to stories, I want you to, first of all, post 1 frame. That's the ultimate hack right now for getting lots of views on your story. And when you're promoting your product, you do want to aim for reach. Keep it eye-catching, just enough text for it to make sense and be enticing without it becoming like a wall of text. And then make sure you place your link sticker in the kind of bottom third of the screen so that it's easy to reach with your thumb when you're tapping through. Okay, now when it comes to carousels, just honestly use the photos that you already have in your camera roll. This doesn't have to be super extensive. You can honestly just use like photo dump style pictures and add text on top talking about your product. Again, remember to focus on results here rather than process. If you want, you can honestly just grab some of the copy that you wrote for those emails, shorten it, condense it, and repurpose it for your carousels. Then with the carousels, you're probably gonna wanna use a DM automation from like StanStore to easily send people the link to your product if they're interested. The final step in the non-cringy sales strategy is to iterate and improve. I truly cannot overstate just how valuable it is to get feedback from your customers, because ultimately it will help you improve your product for your existing customers, yes, but it'll also make it easier for you to sell it in the future if it's better. You don't have to do exactly this. You can decide on your own policy, but for my Content Creator Starter Kit, every time I make an upgrade or improvement, I send out an email to all of my past customers and make sure that they have the link to access the upgraded version. In my mind, this is just a way of thanking them for supporting my business in the past and for sharing their feedback so that I can make the product better. So they actually get to reap the benefits of the feedback they share with me. I'll be honest, it can be hard to ask for feedback, especially if you're a people pleaser, because you just want everyone to be happy all the time, and it literally feels like it would crush you to receive negative feedback from somebody, especially somebody that spent money with you. But the thing is, it's so valuable, and receiving feedback doesn't mean that somebody hates you or they even regret their purchase. They might still be quite happy with their purchase, but there's just maybe a few ways that you could improve. Getting that information is so helpful because it's going to allow you to build a product that's better, that you're more confident about, and that will sell to more people in the future. So really try to take any feedback that you get from your customers in stride and try to appreciate it for the opportunity that it is rather than seeing it as critique. Look, I get it. There are a lot of skeezy, awkward, annoying, and cringy people out there in the online business world, and you do not want to be one of them. Like, a lot of selling on the internet does feel cringy, and of course we want to avoid that. But I feel like you've already completed the most important step, in that you've entered this whole process in good faith with good intentions, and you want to create something great that actually does help people. And so because of that, I really believe that you can sell it without feeling like a sellout. So I really hope that you found this little introductory guide helpful. Make sure you go check out Stan's store using the link in my description. And if you want more from me, specifically my latest strategy tips when it comes to the current Instagram algorithm, make sure you check out this video next. And as always, I hope you're having adventures and following your dreams, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye!